And that's what one of the card heads done. The original columns would have had the capital. Oh, let me go back. Yeah, this will show it in a minute. It wouldn't have had that piece on it. But because we had to fit in the last piece, we had to have a tolerance. So to fit it in, we had to carve the column head with a piece of column attached to it and then fit in that. So it's not an exact replication of the original columns. It gives you an idea of the drawings that we did for it. So those were the drum sizes. And the last piece, to allow us to fit it at a tolerance there. So we attach that to that, slid it in. Might be some more pictures showing that in reality. There you can see the process. We slide in that on those couple of steel beams there. Hoisting the columns up. So, we secure the put-log stone, remove the capitals, and each drum is then removed individually. You saw that process a minute ago. The new columns arriving on site. We cut a hole in the temporary roof, dropped them in. There's the column bases going in. All meticulously checked for line and level and plumb. There you see the lads just maneuvering them around on trolleys into position until they're directly under where you want them to be. Lower it in onto a sheet of lead. That was one of the salvaged pieces. You can see that the lead worker or the mason couldn't resist scratching his name on it. I forget what it is, O'Leary or something like that. Neary, actually, it's Neary. Wherever he was, he made his mark anyway. There you go. This is the test column now all the time. You just roll it into position. There. Yeah. Column. We patched up the holes in the put-log stones because they were of no further use. We didn't need them anymore. That was the first trial column in. And we had tested the methodology and showed that it worked. I think we had I think we modified very little after that. We just ran with the program then. We modified the false work so as that we could, if like, withdraw it on completion. We introduced those ties. So we could unbuckle them, as it were, afterwards. Now this is, that's not one of the made 28 columns. That's one down at the entrance. But what maybe I'm not capturing is, it was such a joyful project that the mason could not resist doing some kind of a Clare set on top of it. And I guess the health and safety people were somehow looking the other way that day. That's just down at the entrance. There's some more interesting things. So it was really, the project was really about replacing the columns, taking down the old ones, getting in the new ones. So that brings us, that was the major part. The roof, of course, had to be done. The contribution of gem joinery. So the trusses were made around the corner, down the street from the cathedral, by Gem, who were the builders, or part of the builders, Gem Purcell. What we did was we took off part of the roof and dropped in each truss. We had redone these parapets, opened a slot in the roof, dropped in the trusses, and just rolled them along the tops of the walls. That's just a little background on it. When we were, if you like, being briefed on the project, the senior architectural advice said, well, the timber is gone, let's not do timber. Cheap and cheerful steel will be just fine. So we went down that road until it became an issue with the planning permission. And we were asked to come up with something a little bit modern and a little bit different. So this is a kind of a tied glulam truss space frame-y thing, which actually wasn't built, but would have been super if it had. I think that's what it would have looked like if you were strolling along the roof area now. You'd be in that kind of a space. It was really nice. Anyway, that was we had original record drawings of what was there in the roof before the fire. You had your main queen post truss, independent arch for the ceiling, and these, let's call it half trusses on the side. Bord Planola decided that really, and that's another section through the original roofs, or another part of it, that running with something that was akin to the original was the right way to go. We're talking mostly about the roof now, so you have the central nave, you have that. So we had loads of things came up to deal with, you know, the building wasn't square or true rectangular, there was discrepancies in level, things were not parallel like they should have been, and all of that. So the original, sorry, I won't say the original roof. The roof that was on it when it went on fire was a copper roof, copper cladding, and it was decided that going back with a blue Bangor slate would be the way to go. So that's kind of what we did. There's your typical, again, queen post truss laid in all the way. And as I say, we dropped them in on one end and rolled them along. This was a slightly different truss because somehow in the construction of the central nave, when it transitioned into the sanctuary area, there was a little guke in the building. Whether it was deliberate or not, we don't know, but it made it just a slightly different truss. Also, that truss was going to be carrying that area of roof as well, which you'll see.